What's up, world? How's everybody doing today, tonight, tomorrow? As I always say, whatever time, realm, dimension you're living in, I hope you're doing great, feeling blessed. And I know a lot of us out there in the world today are stressing. Flags at half-staff, a nation mourning, and all too many reasons to be feeling that way. We've been through these roads, we've been down these roads, we've been through things like this before. All too many times have we uncovered wrongdoings by those that we thought we could trust. And I'm not saying by no means that this didn't happen. I'm going to start off by saying this. And I want everybody to understand, my heart goes out to everyone out there in Vegas dealing with this shooting. The largest mass shooting in U.S. history. That's what we're being told. That's what the narrative is right now. That's what we're supposed to go along with. As the news keeps saying it over and over and over and over and beating it into your head, it was a lone gunman, right? Lone wolf, lone gunman, lone wolf. I keep hearing those words. I keep hearing it non-stop. Homegrown terror. These words that are always put together to beat it into your head, because those first couple of minutes of watching something, that's what's going to stick with you. It happened during 9/11. And ironically, I was actually getting ready to upload a video on 9/11. That's what I've been working on. I know I haven't been uploading a lot lately. Y'all have been busy. I had some more oral work done, so I'm kind of hurting. But I had to get this up. The other video is coming soon. But just like 9/11, we learned so many things. We learned so many things happened not the way that we were told they happened. Not that people weren't killed and people weren't injured. And these events happened in a certain way, just not the story that we were given were exactly how they went down. Now, I've heard too many eyewitnesses during this event in Vegas say they heard more than one gunman, and we have to be careful of that, because we know anybody with firearm experience, if you're in a certain area, especially with buildings or walls around you, you get sound that reverbs and bounces around. So sometimes you could be shooting by yourself and it sounds like there's more than one person there shooting. But there were some times during these clips that I noticed it did sound like two shooters. It sounded like two different calibers being used. It sounded like two different sounds going on. So we have to be careful. As human nature, we can find a needle in a haystack when the needle's not really there. It's our nature. We will look at a tree or look at the clouds and find a design or see something. It's in our nature, folks. We do it all the time. But so many times where we have been looking for these things, we have found out that they really were there. That we really did find them, and we needed to find them because they shed more light on the stories. They open more up, and sometimes they even force the powers that be. We even force their hand to admit things. So we can't just let things go. And I hate it sometimes. I hate just not going along with the story and just saying, you know what, bless their hearts, prayers go out. Speedy recovery, let's all come together as a nation. It's so great to feel that way. It's so great to just be able to look, and sometimes I hate it that I'm looking between the lines and looking behind the curtain. I don't want to do that all the time. But if somebody doesn't take that initiative, and by God, I know there's going to be those out there who hate me right now for even bringing this up. I know there's going to be those out there who are going to be mad and angry with me and say, you're a piece of garbage, how dare you? And I get it, and I understand it. But maybe one day, if you go down some of the roads I've been down and you see some of the things that I've seen, you understand that we have to question these things. That all too many times, these powers that be have cried wolf. And they were the wolf. We heard this lone gunman, the brother said he thinks his brother just snapped. He has no reason to think he would do this. And we've heard this before throughout history with these gunmen. And we've seen throughout history how these gunmen are manipulated. The powers that be have admitted MK Ultra. They've admitted these things. They've admitted, to having these pawns in their little game that they set up. We've seen the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, or anybody who's read the book. These things happen. They do happen. Now, I heard too many witnesses, like I said. A lot of videos show people calmly reacting to this situation. Over 500 injured, over 50 dead, I think almost 60 now dead. You didn't see one body hardly, laying there not moving. I have overhead shots of the field. I've seen so many people jump up and run away. I heard people laughing, people smiling. Now, strangely enough, I did see an interview where a girl says that they were warned earlier that day by a woman, even though this was a lone gunman. He worked by himself, right? There was a woman who came down and told everybody, you're all going to die today. Why haven't they looked more into that? Talked about it more? See, we have to be careful, because when these stories come out, if we don't take everything down right as it's happening, right away, they'll erase all that from history. They did it with 9/11. They'll try to do it again with any other event. Got to be careful, folks. And I'm not saying, look, I've said 1,000 times, false flags kill innocent people. And I'm not saying this was a false flag. I'm just saying that we need to look deeper before we just start accepting everything they tell us. Because we know with their past, they've done it before, they damn sure do it again. Don't just let them slide on everything and believe everything that comes out of their slick-tongued mouths. I saw too many people, like I said, reacting, saying it was firecrackers, calmly laughing during these videos. I saw news anchors saying strange things like, we waited for this for a decade, or we thought this was going to happen on New Year's. I mean, all these strange things. Not only that, we look at where it took place. Look in the background. The fact that we have the pyramid, the all-seeing eye set up, we have the obelisk, we have the Sphinx, we have all this stuff right there. The 32nd floor with the lone gunman, the lone wolf on it, right? For this amount of time, just spraying, willy-nilly, just letting it rip. Not only that, these darn... and call them what you will. Maybe some of them were real witnesses or real victims or whatnot. But don't think that crisis actors don't show up to real events to help push whatever narrative they want or help push the story further. We saw people show up and try to force tears out, tell stories that were mixed up, didn't make sense. We saw one woman show up. Good gracious, I've never seen the all-seeing eye show up in so many scenes here. And I know the symbolism stuff, this is more, can be that needle in a haystack. But by golly, she had the all-seeing eye on her necklace. She had the CBS all-seeing eye here, here, and here. And in the background, what do you see is the dang pyramid. Light on top, shining up. So, maybe I'm taking things too far. And like I said, maybe some of you are going to hate me for this and be angry. But if it helps take you down these roads that I've been down, and you start to open your eyes to the truth, and maybe this event is exactly what they say it is. But unfortunately, we can't just take it for face value all the time. We have to look behind and double check. We need, as a people, as a nation, to make sure these folks who are supposed to take care of us are really doing what they're supposed to do and taking care of us. You know, they're watching us, but who's watching them? Somebody needs to. And if that means that I get a lot of flack and a lot of people get mad at me for doing that, by all means get mad at me. But if we find out one day that these things that all of us have said as truthers, from 9/11 to this incident to whatever incident you want to pick, one day in history people are going to look back, and for all the flack we took, maybe one day we'll be looked at as heroes for people that didn't want to go along, that did want the best for America, that did want the best for the world and its people. We weren't just willing to sit back and be brainwashed and take whatever was given to us and whatever was fed to us and just accept it as life. And we said, no, that's not right, something's wrong, and we stood up to it. Please understand where I'm coming from and look throughout history and see all the wrongdoings that they have made. You cannot always trust them. I put together some clips. Everybody give it a watch. Let me know what you think. I'll be talking about this more. My 9/11 video is coming up here soon. It's something I just had to get off my chest. When I've never really talked about 9/11 into detail. And ironically, we have this event happen right before I upload the video. So it is coming soon. But everybody give it a watch. Let me know what you think. If anybody else has any more information, please don't hesitate. Let me know. Everybody, my thought, heart, and prayers go out to those, anyone dealing with this situation, any victims in this situation. Really, my heart goes out to you, because I know, like I said, these events, these false flags, whatever you want to call them, these productions that they put on, I know they kill and hurt real people, innocent people. And I hope you're all okay. Those who were injured, speedy recovery. But I'm just telling everybody, this story, so far what I've seen, there's a lot of holes in it. And there's a lot of weird, sketchy stuff going on. So, thank you again. Everybody watch the clips. As always, y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay incredible. Find the truth. Gonna set you free. See ya.
The shooter being identified as a lone wolf. There.
Exactly where the shooter or shooters were, firing into the crowd. That this person or persons knew exactly what they were doing and probably had some kind of practice or training to set this situation up. I mean, you just don't decide in the middle of the night you're going to go to a country music festival and just open up on a crowd of people and not have it already planned out.
Phil, we also heard inside Mandalay Bay on the floor there. Now, we are getting a variety of reports, but let's say that is in fact the case. That would lend itself to the possibility that, in fact, maybe there was more than one shooter.
Right. And I mean, my gut tells me right now there was more than one person involved just because of the number of injuries, the number of possible fatalities. You know, there's reports that there's victims that are there at the scene that are already beyond any help and they've been declared deceased. So with that kind of firepower, number one, and the amount of ammunition that these people had available to them, I just can't see that this was a one-man show. There had to be more than one person involved, in my view.
And now they're saying there could even be a situation near the Luxor with a suspicious device. So that also could speak to being more than one person involved.
There could have been several distraction events that led up or that occurred when all this was happening, when the officers were responding and running into the Mandalay to start dealing with this active shooter. There were reports of shots at different locations coming in that ultimately turned out to be false. I mean, there were officers actually, one report was at the Tropicana Hotel. There was officers at the Tropicana Hotel, and they said, no, there's been no shots fired here.
Which may have been by design. The person behind this may have wanted to be the author of confusion to kind of, get them off of their scent.
Heard constant shootings. At first we thought it was fireworks, but then it was shooting.
And then somebody said something to you to tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so there was a lady who pushed her way forward into the concert venue into the first row, and she started messing with another lady and told us that we were all gonna die tonight.
Do you know why she was saying that? I mean, was this after the shots were fired, or?
It was about 45 minutes before the shots were actually fired, but then she was escorted out by security.
And describe to me what this woman looked like.
Her and her boyfriend were both Hispanic. They were probably about shorter 5-footers, probably about 5'5", 5'6". They just looked like everyday people, that we were all gonna die. So they escorted her out to make her stop messing around with all the other people in front of them, but none of us knew that it was going to be serious.
Bree, did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
We realized it sounded like machine guns. It's not fireworks. And then people started running, and we asked what was going on, and they said it was a shooter, and then we realized it sounded like machine guns. It sounded like more than one machine gun, and it just didn't stop, like 30 minutes.
Your own?
It was mass chaos. You couldn't tell the difference between people that knew what was going on and people that were adding more confusion.
But this is something we thought may happen on New Year's Eve. It happened on the first day of October in 2017. But what's to stop somebody from doing this elsewhere on the Las Vegas Strip or anywhere in our country?
With this kind of world now on a regular basis. So were we long overdue for something like this? Some people will say yes. It's hard to guess where the next terrorist attack is going to occur. Not that this was a per se terrorist attack. This was probably a homegrown lone wolf situation, and go through a scanner, go through a metal detector or something like that. And, are we at that point? Who knows?
It is the injured have been taken to your location. In faith, I'm struck by the fact that it's not very chaotic behind you. I don't see a lot of the victims' family and friends at that location. Have you seen any of them? So the moment that we have feared for more than a decade has finally come to fruition on the Las Vegas Strip.
What America's supposed to be like.
What did you think was happening, Jake, when you first heard the shots? Number one, did you know they were shots?
To make sure they were okay it was I've just never experienced anything like this before. Obviously, like they just said, it's the largest mass shooting in our country's history. I never thought it'd be something that would be at a country music concert, something that we do day in, day out, every weekend. There's families out there, there's kids on their parents' shoulders, and that's not what America's supposed to be like.
What did you think was happening, Jake, when you first heard the shots? Number one, did you know they were shots?
Well, ironically enough, when I walked up on the stage earlier enough, they were pretty. The security was pretty tight. The security was pretty tight because Jason uses pyrotechnics, and I think the fire marshal didn't want a lot of people back to stage. Or things like this have to happen in order for us to really see that this kind of thing is real.
It's interesting, Jake, how they talk about the shooter. A 64-year-old man doesn't fit the profile. Apparently, no criminal record. Who lived at a retirement community. You also don't expect anything at a country music festival, just as you didn't at an Ariana Grande concert. What does that say to you?
I'm a Floridian, and when the nightclub had the shooting last year, that was devastating to me. The kinds of people, innocent lives that were taken, and these kind of things are happening day in and day out. Well, one of these happens, and then there's another news story about the next day on something happens.
Police believe the lone gunman has interviewed the shooter's brother, Eric Paddock. His brother, indicating that he didn't think his brother could do something like this, is shocked by this news, indicating that Stephen Paddock had no political or religious affiliation. He believes that his brother just snapped in this case.
I want to draw your attention to some of the items we have here. We have water. We saw a lot of the people coming in. They have blankets. And, that's all due to all the wonderful people in right here in Las Vegas who have donated resources, wonderful people in right here. Just
been handed a news release from Metro, and now they're saying that an estimated 406 people have been transported to hospitals. The death toll at 50, but that could go higher. NBC News reporting this is the largest mass shooting in United States history. 22,000 concert goers there at the Route 91 Harvest Festival concert that was going out across the street from the Luxor when a lone gunman opened fire on the crowd using automatic weapons. You can hear the shots ringing out in the background. When police eventually breached the room that he was shooting from, they found the suspect dead, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And as you can imagine, the need for blood is very high this morning.
That tells me that this person or persons knew exactly what they were doing and probably had some kind of practice or training to set this situation up. I mean, you just don't. My gut tells me right now there was more than one person involved, just because of the number of injuries, the number of possible fatalities. There's reports that there's victims that are there at the scene that are already beyond any help, and they've been declared deceased. So with that kind of firepower, number one, and the amount of ammunition that these people had available to them, I just can't see that this was a one-man show. There had to be more than one person involved, in my view.
I heard on his radio say we have active shooters, and I heard him say, "Oh God!" And then he walked out to look around, and he had his gun out, and he was looking around, and then it started shooting again, and he came running back in and covered me up again, and then the shooting just would stop. Like they or she, whoever was refilling or whatever you call it, reloading. And then he said, "We need to get out of here. We got to get you out of here." So we went to another little tent and stood in there, or we laid down in there. And again, that officer was with me. He was like my guardian angel. He never left me. And we could hear the shots getting closer, it seemed. And my husband got hit like with some shrapnel, and he goes, "Gail, I think I got some of the, I don't know what you call it, lead or something." And he goes, "Feel how hot it is." And he put it on my arm, and we kind of waited, and then the shooting kind of stopped because it kept stopping, like they were refilling or something or reloading. Couldn't get out because there was like a door or something, so we pushed it down. He pushed it down first, and we ran out, and he said, "Stay out of the light, just run and keep down. And as we're running, there's people laying everywhere. People were bleeding. One guy was holding his girlfriend or wife or woman, and he was crying and saying, "Oh God, baby, I'm so sorry, it's my fault." And I think she had been shot in the head because he was just covered with blood, and we ran, and there was just ambulances and police cars everywhere. It was heartbreaking. It was unreal.
You were painting an incredible story.
Well, it seemed like a long time, but maybe only 10 minutes it seemed, maybe 15 minutes. It seemed forever, but then again, it was like so fast. Your mind plays tricks on you, and it's hard to say, but it was I've never been that scared in my life.
Gail, how many?
In my life ever. Your mind plays tricks on you, and it was packed. It was packed because, Jason Aldean is just like the number one singer, and everybody, he was the last singer for the venue and for the show, and so everybody was there having a good time. It was packed. I don't know, thousands. It was just packed, everywhere. He saved me, I know, because, the girl that got shot was right next to me. I don't know. Almost immediately, Metro was there. They're always right there. They were right there. Ambulances were coming. We had ambulances everywhere. There were police cars everywhere, and a little bit above halfway, a little bit higher up, he could actually see like lights flashing, like. And then they said that he saw this where the shooter was.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I can tell, and I know this is traumatic. I'm sure that you are still in quite a bit of shock. But have you been able to wrap your brain around that you went to a Jason Aldean concert of all things, and this happened to you? This seems like a terrible movie.